We welcome back to the show author of the book, One Generation Away, Why Now is the Time to Restore American Freedom. He is Brilynn Hollyhand. He is also the editor-in-chief of the Truth Gazette, and it's good to hear from him on the Murphy Show hotline. Brilynn, how are you, sir?
Matt, happy Thursday. Thanks for having me back. It's an honor. I had to come celebrate the last day of early voting in your state. So
well, I do appreciate that you're doing that. Tell us what you've been doing with yourself. I mean, we had you in studio some months ago. You had the big book out, One Generation Away. I'm sure everything's going well for you over the course of the summer into the fall.
It has been amazing. I think it's all good luck from going on your show as the first radio show of my tour. I did a book tour after I met with you, and then I just started a campus tour that I finished last night. I've been to 8 college campuses in 4 weeks, and it's been really fun to get to talk to voters. And the same message I'm hearing from Gen Z is the same thing that you're talking about. We are frustrated. We're fed up. We can't afford to buy a home. We can't afford to fill our gas tanks up. We can't afford to start a family. Regardless of if you love Donald Trump's personalities, we like his policy, and we want him back in office.
One of the reasons I love talking with you, Brilynn, and why I think you are such an important voice in this movement in the United States of America is because you do have, somewhat of a better understanding as to the younger generation, the 19, the 20-year-old, the 21-year-old, the 22-year-old, and I would like to pretend that I have my thumb on that generation's thoughts and feelings and the way they talk amongst themselves. I don't. You do. Obviously, it is natural to suggest that a 20-something might break with what I would consider the nonsense coming out of the Kamala Harris camp. But, I mean, what are you seeing when you're on the ground, when you're talking to folks of that generation? Are you seeing more of a break away from Harris and Biden toward Trump? Or just tell me what you see.
Yeah, well, let me tell you a fun little story just from last night. I spoke at Auburn last night at the last stop of the tour, and I had somebody come up after the speech and say, listen, I was a Kamala Harris supporter since she got in the race. Taylor Swift's endorsement really convinced me that this needs to be somebody that's going to protect my body, the whole freedom argument. She was really sold. And then she saw how angry the campaign got after the convention. She said the past few weeks of people calling your party fascist and Nazis and Hitler, and now, 2 nights ago, Joe Biden, not inadvertently, actually calling us garbage. Stuff like that is turning her off. She said, I don't love every single thing you support. I don't love every single thing Donald Trump says. But again, I like his policies, and I'm going to break a generational, fixation within my own family of voting for Democrats and actually vote Republican this time. And I said, thank you for doing that. Thank you for actually stepping out. I think that reflects a broader shift in Gen Z that a lot of people are waking up. A lot of people don't like being called garbage. And I think those garbage people are going to be voting on Tuesday.
You reminded me in your appearance in studio, Brilynn, and you remind me again today that, those of us in my generation, I'm 51, right? But even, the 40-something-year-olds, we do a disservice to a lot of younger Americans by dismissing them as, skulls of mush or woke or, this generation doesn't get it. I feel like there is, if you want to talk about being woke, I think there's an awakening that's happening that has nothing to do with being woke. And I see a lot of younger people coming around to the idea that, they want a job for themselves. They want to create a family for themselves. They want an America that they know about from stories that they hear from their parents or their grandparents. And they don't buy into this government dependent nonsense coming out of the mouths of Democrats nowadays, in my estimation. Am I right?
You're exactly right, Matt. I mean, today is Halloween, and we all know the famous Reagan quote that freedom is one generation away from extinction. But there's another famous Reagan quote that kind of goes with this holiday, that the 5 scariest words in the English language are I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Gen Z realizes that. Gen Z has been a lot more awake than we are woke. And if you want to talk about woke, it's really the teachers. They're actually activists just in teachers' clothing who have been shoving this woke nonsense down our throat. We're waking up to the fact of this, and I think a lot of people are going to be voting as a result of that. Regardless of who wins the youth vote, I think it'll be Trump, but I think regardless, we're going to see the highest youth voter turnout in American history because my generation went through COVID. My generation saw what happens and our voice is taken away. We were shut out of school for a year and a half. They strapped that diaper to our face and told us we couldn't go visit our granny for Thanksgiving dinner, but we could go to the strip club, Matt. Stuff like that is really waking us up to say, oh, this nonsense is nonsense and we need to vote against it.
Now, I understand that you talk to a lot of good young people that have they're clear thinkers. They have their minds right with regard to what is best for them and their families. I imagine you see the other side of that on college campuses and in your circles and when you go to these various towns quite a bit as well. What do you hear from the opposition? What is their message 5 days before Election Day, and how do you speak to them? I'm certain, Brilynn, that you encounter these folks all the time when you're on the campus.
That is such a great assessment, Matt, because I encountered them just last night. We had a few protesters, and I was interested in the question that you just asked. I wanted to know what their message was 5 days out from election day. Like, why are you here? Why are you screaming in the middle of my speech? Let's have a conversation. But they don't do that. They just stand up and scream until they say their piece, grab their flag, and walk out the back door with their blue hair and nose rings and bullhorn, and that's it. They don't want to sit and talk. They don't want to have a conversation. But what I think is important to note, and it's something that you touched on earlier, is that this minority of people that go out and protest on college campuses, that shut down Yale or stand up in the middle of my campus speech on an SEC tour, that represents exactly what I said, a minority. They call us the silent majority as Republicans. I think that's the loud minority of college students. You know, they get all the airtime, they get the attention, they make this example of Gen Z with a bad look, but the media ignores the thousands of other college students that don't dye their hair blue, that don't get nose rings, that don't go on a bullhorn or shut down a campus, and are just going on with normal class schedules. So I think when you look at Poland, you're like, oh my goodness, Gen Z's moving conservative. Actually, we've always been conservative. We're just a little bit more quiet about it, and we don't, tattoo ourselves with it.
Fearless predictions for election night, Brilynn. Will we know, let's say, I'll give you till November 6th. Do you think we'll know the day after the election what the results are?
I think we'll have a lot better idea the day after the election than we did last time, but I don't think we'll know a winner the day after. I think it'll be 2 to 3 days. I think we're moving more into a conversation of not if Donald Trump will win battleground states, but how many will he win, and how many non-battleground states will he actually pick up and shock people. But I do want to make this point for your audience today, and I know it's the last day of early voting, so I'm trying to really get this message in. Do not get cocky. Cockiness is a cancer. Cockiness is how we lose elections. When you get cocky and you say, oh, the polls are looking great, the other people won't want to get out and vote. All of us right now have to tell ourselves that. Go tell your friends that. Go tell your peers that. Don't think you have this election in the bag. Everybody has to get out and vote, whether it's tonight before 6 o'clock or Tuesday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. You have to get out and cast your ballot, because the polls do not actually reflect what's going to be coming out on election day. That's up to every one of you.
What is your message that you send, particularly to younger voters? Because I have so many of them listening to our show right now, Brilynn. Yeah. What have you been talking about on campus about why Trump is the superior selection over Kamala Harris for their future and for their individual, for their dreams and aspirations? Why is Trump the choice?
You know what's sad, Matt? I've done this campus tour for 8 campuses in 4 weeks, and everybody doesn't have hope. It doesn't matter which campus I'm on. It doesn't matter what part of the country I'm in, southern or northern. Every place I go to, they do not have hope. Because we've been fed this lie, this propaganda from the media that everything's going to be dark and gloomy, you're going to be happy with it. This is just America today. But it doesn't have to be America today. There is hope, and that hope is Donald Trump. The hope is actually electing somebody that can make America great again, not just as a slogan, but as a way of life. The American dream should be attainable for every American. That's how it was for our parents' generation. That's how it was for our grandparents' generation. Donald Trump will make it more affordable to start a family. Donald Trump will make it more affordable to buy a home, to actually start a life living out that American dream. All you have to do is vote for him either tonight before 6 p.m. or Tuesday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Brilynn, so good to catch up. Come see us the next time you're in Nashville. You know how much I appreciate what you do. I mean, you are the heart and soul of the youth movement in the United States of America with regard to our political movement. I appreciate what you do on the Truth Gazette. I loved your book, One Generation Away. If there's anything else we can do for you, just let us know. How can folks find you online and get in contact with you?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everything. Just look up at Brilynn Hollyhand, or you can go to Matt's Twitter, and him and I were just tweeting, so you can find it there.
Brilynn, thanks so much, buddy, and we'll see you soon.
I appreciate you, Matt. Right. Get out and vote.
All right, take care. There's Brilynn Hollyhand. He's a good young man. I think is he 20? I don't even know if he's 20 yet. I mean, he's young. He's 20 or 21, maybe. I don't know that I could have a beer with Brilynn. I'll put it that way. But Brilynn is a great young voice. Obviously found his voice at a very, very early age and has translated that into speaking to people on college campuses and whatnot in a language that hopefully they can understand. And hopefully that translates to votes come, if not now, then on election day.